Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Thursday, the 29th of May 2025. So overnight, futures soar after trade court blocks Trump's global tariffs, White House to appeal, ruling that President overstepped his authority because he can only have that authority if it's an emergency use. But of course, it's not. It's more ego and arrogance and whatever else you want, hubris. So at the moment, it's all off the table. As I've said before, I don't think these things will happen. We can see the pattern. It's all about creating volatility in the markets and markets moving higher. And what happens here? Futures soar overnight. We'll look at that in more detail in just a moment. But other news yesterday, Nvidia tops earnings expectations despite incurring USD 4 billion charge in Q1, but it didn't matter. Still boosted the market. Goldman responds to trade court block of Trump tariffs. So this is the appeal. As I say, there's going to be an appeal, but Goldman believes that they can sidestep it. I don't know. It's now out to get Trump. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of any politician, as you know. But it looks like it's like, let's stop him in his tracks. So 3 judges have presided over this. It was brought by small businesses to the courts to say that it had a major impact on the importation of goods and the cost obviously increasing prohibitively. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I mean, July the 9th is when all of these are supposed to come into force. But of course, at the moment, we don't know whether that will actually happen or not. Like I say, my money is it's not going to be what it appears to be. It's going to be all and nothing by the time we get to July the 9th. Right, so let's move on and have a look at the markets. But before we do that, let's just have a quick look, see what we've got out today. So Thursday 29th, we've got French and German holiday. If you trade the German DAX, be warned today that the spread on some brokers doesn't change. It stays at the overnight, which can be as wide as 8 points. So just check before you start trading if you trade the German DAX. US prelim data is also out today. Unemployment claims, they're the weekly ones. The main one today is going to be Bailey speaking for UK traders, and that's going to be at 8 p.m. So it's not going to affect us because the markets will be closed by this time when he does speak. Right, let's have a look at the Dow and see what happened overnight with all of these markets as well. So as you can see there, market up overnight. Yesterday, market was sideways to higher. Now we're at the 200 MA, and if we can get through the 200 MA today, which I suspect it's a good chance that's likely to happen unless we see some form of appeal coming through. But the market already just trading above the 200 MA in the daily chart there. Momentum moving back to the upside, and we're just about to start looking at some all-time highs in this market. I'm not going to mark those up just yet because otherwise you can't really see the detail on the chart there. So at the moment we're heading up to the recent high that was made on the, what's the date there? May the 20th, before we had a bit of a pullback with the European tariff of 50%. And there we go, 42,874 is the number there. Let's have a look at the German DAX. And as you would expect, this is blown through overnight, 24,394, up over 300, nearly 400 points in the last few days for this market. The 30-minute chart, you can see there, take off as soon as the court decision was released, and prices continuing to move above the high as I record. You can expect more on this, and we'll look at this in more detail when we get to the 2-minute chart. Meanwhile, in the S&P 500, we've reached the 59. You can see it there, the 59,883. We're just going through that now, and then we've got further upside targets. The main target's going to be the 6,000 in this market as prices attempt to move higher. Psychological level, 6,000. Get the S&P back above that 6,000 level. This is the all-time high at 6,147. 30-minute chart, well, again, you can see massive move overnight and maintaining this. Expect more of that to begin with when the markets open, and then a bit of a pullback. UK 100 also moving higher, but not as high as the others. If you have a look, it's moved, but nothing to shout about. But it traded up to yesterday's high on the overnight there. Actually, I think that's a high that's been made overnight just after midnight, if I recall. Yes, it's got to be, because that's yesterday's high just there. No, it's not. It's that one. There we go. Got it sorted. Right, so yeah, the high there is 8808. The market's got to get back above yesterday's high. And of course, if I'd just gone back to the daily chart, I could see exactly that indeed. Right, let's have a look at the US dollar, which was obviously a positive for it. And indeed it was. The market has gapped, but of course with gaps they have to be filled. So you can expect the dollar to return back towards the downside there as we go through the next few days. So the gap has got to be filled. They always end up getting filled at some point. Even here where there was a markets drove up, the gap was filled. Go back and have a look, same there. Market gapped down, market came back. So this is going to be a bit of a downside pressure on the dollar there. Let's have a look at the metals. And I'm surprised, very surprised actually. Silver coming down to the 50 EMA on this news, and managing to turn around and move back up. So if we have a look, we're still in this sideways range, but in the 30-minute chart you can see the shakeout in the market when this news about the courts saying the tariffs were not legal. The market has moved up. It just needs to get back above yesterday's high. And of course, if the US dollar goes down to fill the gap, then it's going to help support this market. Meanwhile, gold not doing so well, not recovering very well off the news overnight. And that's no surprise, really. You can see it there, sideways to higher after the shakeout. Big volume there as well. It'll have its day, but as I said in the alerts for the last few times, don't expect any great shakes in the metals markets for the next few months. We'll have to wait and see what happens on July the 9th and whether Trump can win his appeal as well with regards to these tariffs. We'll just have to wait and see. Goldman Sachs seem to be quite confident about it, but then they would. And let's have a look at the gold-silver ratio. I think I forgot to look at this yesterday, so let's just have a quick look. So in the gold-silver ratio, as I said, gold wasn't doing that well, so this has put pressure on the gold-silver ratio moving to the downside. But don't hold your breath, because we've got this support across to the left there, which is around about 98.5 is where that's likely to be. So again, don't be surprised if we test that and then we bounce back off it going forward. Right, let's have a quick look at yesterday's markets and trades and see what happened in the German DAX 2-minute chart. So yesterday morning I mentioned about getting a pullback in the DAX. It came early on actually. Normally we get a run up, don't we? And then we get, when the market opens, we get the downside. But it was taken care of in the pre-market session there. We had a shakeout and then the market moved back to the upside. And then the cash market opened and we see the spike to the upside. There was some selling around, as you can see down here after the initial buying. And then prices managed to move to the upside. It was choppy, but they managed to move, and you can see they're heading to the high. So what I've done here is go back to the daily chart and marked up a new all-time high that was going to be made. Without a doubt, it was going to be made. A bit of a struggle to begin with, but you'll see there, bang, straight through. That's how you get through through the previous day's high to create a new all-time high. So prices did that, but when you get a new all-time high, you also get profit taking as well. So the market churned, then saw the market drop sharply and come off the lows. So there was some buying around, or there was shorts taking profit. So there was a bit of a short squeeze there, but then it relented and the market saw the selling come in on this bar, and then prices meander lower throughout the whole of the morning and into the mid-morning and into the Dow's futures contracts opening there just after lunch, and then we get into the afternoon, which was deathly quiet. As you can see there, we had a potential sell, the market moved down. We then had some news, market again really quiet, but a sell, and this time the market did drift a bit lower there, as you can see, as the US did nothing. If you go back to the Dow chart that we looked at earlier, If I can just find that one for you. There we go. Go back to the daily. You can see it was very, very quiet, and even in the 30-minute it just drifted down. And of course this just brought the DAX down with it, having made that new all-time high. And then as we move into the early part of the evening, the market not doing a lot. And of course then we had the decision from the courts, and that sparked the markets overnight. So yesterday fairly quiet, all of the action, and any action today will be a result of the court's decision saying that Trump's tariffs are illegal. Okay, let's have a quick look, see where we're at with the overnight market. And there you can see at the moment prices are above yesterday's high already. You can expect a bit of a pullback, I would have thought, down towards the high, and then the market to resume its upside. That said, yesterday the market was fairly weak after it managed to use the previous day's news to move the market to the high, so could be a choppy one today as the market adjusts to the speculation on the basis of whether there's going to be an appeal or a successful appeal, as the case may be. But so we'll just have to wait and see. Right, so that's it for this one. Let's see what happens during today. But as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.